Look at that big sucker right there. It's got over $500,000 there. But his motorhome's $350,000. The trailer's $80,000, and whatever's in the trailer, probably $100,000 worth of motorcycles or something. You know, I was looking at some videos about those Sprinter vans from a professional Sprinter van mechanic. I mean, this guy's so professional, I couldn't even afford to have him change one of my tires. He's like one of those $200 an hour mechanics. And he's got a line. I mean, he's got a lineup of all professional, highly experienced technicians. He's the kind of guy that when... Now, this might blow your mind, so listen, I'll tell you. When other people can't solve the problems of a Sprinter van, they send it to him. That's how good this guy is. He's like the mechanic they call when other mechanics can't figure it out. And here's what he said about Sprinter vans. And I'm not making this up. This he quote. He said, "They're all crap." He said, "I tell people, don't buy a Sprinter van. Don't buy one." He said, "Do not buy one of those Sprinter camper vans. Or for work," he said, "do not buy a Sprinter van." He says, "You'd be better off to buy a cargo van, you know, a Ford or a Dodge or a Chevy. See that big Ford 150? If you ever have a problem with that thing, it's going to cost you like $3,500. A small problem. Because you can't work on them. You need a team of guys to go in there and put 10, 12, 18 hours into the thing. For just small to medium range problems. Well, anyways, the guy said he works on all new vehicles, him and his team. He's in like Pennsylvania or something. He's got a big, huge YouTube channel. He said people call him from all over the United States asking him advice. He said, we tell them what the problem is because Sprinter, the people that make these vans, they know already. He said the Mercedes Sprinter vans are the worst. That's the ones they buy. He said our guys will try to work on them on their own and totally wreck something, and it costs 3 times as much. He said the salesmen are telling the people they're going to get 400,000 miles out of a Sprinter van. He says they're not getting over 200,000, just like a regular van. They cost twice as much as a regular van. He said he had to replace the intake. The air intake system on a Sprinter van, it was like $8,500, $8,500. Wow. And that van had 260,000 miles on it. And the person was willing to spend the money because they were going to just use it for 18 more months for their business and then get another one. And he said, I told him, why would you do that? Why don't you just go down and buy a nice brand new $50,000 Dodge van and just drive it? That's my neighbor. Well, he lives in Florence, not by me, but in Florence. Within a mile of me, I should say. I know the kid. So anyways, he said, why would you waste all that money? So apparently, you know, and you look at the comments on these videos, people who own Sprinter vans, they're just livid. They're like, yeah, I've owned a Sprinter van for 2 years and it's almost falling apart. Or 40% of the stuff in my Sprinter camper van doesn't work. Or another guy said, I had to get an entirely new electrical system in all the camping gear because they manufactured it wrong. You know, I see these Sprinter vans up and down the coast. They're like 2 or 3 years old, and they look like they're 13 years old. Now, part of that is because, you know, they're living in them and they're outside. You drive a $150,000 Sprinter van, which is not a big deal. A Sprinter camper van, that's a medium range price. $150,000, I've looked them up. You drive it off the lot, it's worth $125,000 in 30 days. Because it's used. Now that's true with all vehicles, but not that bad. You telling me we can't make a camping van? A van! It's a van. It's not a motorhome like that. It's a van. We can't make a van in America for under $150,000. Come on, people. We've totally lost it. Look at those big logs. If you gave me $150,000, I could make 3 vans, camping vans, that would blow your mind and you would love them and they would last for like 10 years each. Well, anyways, these guys, they go down, you know, these couples, you know, most of them have a lot of money. They're from California or big states, Washington. And or Texas, I see it. They get this $180,000 Sprinter van, and the thing's completely falling apart within 3 years. Right when the warranty stops, 3 years, 36 months, that's all they give. Unless you spend about 10 grand on an extended warranty. What are you doing? You're sleeping, going to the bathroom, shower, cooking your food, and hanging out. And you got some of your possessions with you. Go down and buy a used $50,000 motorhome that's only got 30,000 miles on it. Go buy a used $50,000 motorhome, preferably from a private party on Craigslist. It's only got 30,000 miles on it. It's all broken. They know exactly what works, doesn't work. Everything's fixed. It's better than brand new. And you only spent $50,000 and you got a 28-foot motorhome to, have fun and everything for 2 or 3 years on the road. And if you're single all by yourself, go with the 25-footer for $40,000. Unless you're planning on having a lot of disco parties in there. Then you need the 32-footer. Americans do not have a lack of money. We have a spending problem. America has a spending problem. We spend every dime we get as fast as we get it. I'll end the video here. I looked up Google. Look at there's a $130,000 Corvette. Look. That guy's got a spending problem. Hey you, big spender. There's way better things to do with your $100,000, trust me. $100,000, I could buy 5 acres in the middle of the desert, put a 3-room cabin on it by myself, buy a tractor and 2 old pickups, and I would still never have gone over $75,000. Well, I was going to tell you something. I forgot what it was because of the traffic. I had to turn this off. I got distracted by the traffic. You don't need all this stuff. And plus, it's against the Bible to buy all this stuff. You're supposed to be living for God, not living for possessions. Something has broken in the average American today to where they will not save money and they will not hold the money and not spend it. They won't do it. Americans, I don't know what it is. It's been in the last 15 years. They will not save money and hold it and never touch it. Even if you have an emergency, you just downsize your life, you still don't touch the savings. All Americans used to have a savings account. 80% of Americans used to believe in Jesus Christ. Well, here's probably the answer. And 80% of Americans used to have a savings account of some kind. Even little children used to have a savings account 75 years ago. Even if they had an account with their name on it at some local bank, you know, in Mayberry, with $1.37 in there 60 years ago, that was training them. The banker understood it's training them to save money for the future. And people kept the money in there until they were 65 years old. They never touched the money, and you used to get 4% on every savings account right across the board. Today you get less than 1%. Because we've broken the system. It's upside down now. You used to get 4% on everything. And then your money would double every 10 years approximately. You didn't have to go to the stock market, nothing like that. And when you turned 65 years old, you sold your house, you downsized into a condo. Back then, it was for like a $60,000 condo. And if you saved your whole life, you had about 300 grand in the bank, and you had a nice retirement, a nice life, you lived to be 85 to 94 years old, and when you died, your kids got $50,000 each, cash. You were happy, the banks were happy, your children were happy. And they would use that $50,000 to pay off their house. It was a great system. 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then it stopped. I remember I had a savings account in the 1980s. I was getting 5% interest. Today you have to go to the stock market, mutual funds. You got to do something crazy, and your money is not secure. Your money is not FDIC insured. Only savings account is FDIC insured, and they only give about 1% today. The whole system is upside down. I mean, when a can of beans... That's a nice truck right there. It's like a $4,000 truck. Nice. Young girl driving it. When a can of beans is more valuable than actual money, we got a problem.